Good evening. Good evening. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Finally jumping on, and
Yeah.
I already have the screen up. But when I tell you, remind me not to go out during this time. It's
Oh, it's
crazy.
terrible right now.
Yeah, and I'm in South Haven.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, it's cool. I just had a notion I could do it and be back. Doesn't work. So my apologies.
No, no worries. I've just been going through um my work, so
Okay, awesome, awesome. Well, we're gonna start off in the ebook for A and P, and then we'll move over to the slide. It's one of my favorite chapters, although it's not really doesn't have a heavy emphasis for Tennessee, but I still, I'm just strong as you got to know something, So I'm super
Mhm.
surprised that Tennessee did not put it as more of a reference, but it really helps you learn about what you're going to be doing. And our
Right.
major emphasis in skincare, yeah, our major emphasis in skincare is skin. Okay.
Mhm.
So we have to
Exactly.
know, yeah, we got to know all factors about it. So I like to do my highlights, particular choose a color for the night. Sometimes it's pink, green, blue, but tonight I'm just gonna go with yellow. You'll
Yeah.
be able to reference those highlights as you go back through the ebook as well. It'll just hang on.
Okay,
The
I
first,
saw some that were highlighted previously, and I haven't gotten to anything that was highlighted in the A and P chapter, but I did the chapter one and both of the other ebooks, and I did see some highlighted there, which was helpful.
yeah, and anything you see highlighted is probably a reference to a study question. Okay,
Yeah, I figured
because
that.
yeah, it's a great study tool. Um, when we look at anatomy, physiology, and estheticians, and now where we are, we people want, and I think I stated this yesterday, people want to look good, they want to feel
Right.
good, but if you can solve a problem, you are like the girl, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So a lot of what we do when it comes to aesthetics, not so much cosmetology, you can't wing aesthetics. Being
Hmm.
an esthetician, you just can't wing it because people really come in with all types of stuff going on. And before you even put anything on their skin, you got to know what's going on. Um, I was fussing at my Cosmo students this morning because they didn't have their assignment, they didn't have their homework, which was on consultation questions. And
Hmm.
like I told them, you guys are going to see this. And I know you see it with consultation with every subject that we talk about, but you have to learn how to build a rapport. And a little feedback from them was, they're so used to going by business from social media that just is not going to work all the time. And you have to talk to your clients. So,
Hmm.
no way are we wanting them to, and I saw this and it kind of irks me, you're out there marketing, promoting, but then you put in parentheses, read everything, read all the policies before you call me. The average person is not going to do that.
Nope. I have
So
people sign consents all day long that don't even look at what they're signing.
yeah. And I told him, I said, you having the information there, and then you may be impacting them with too much information, or maybe they don't understand the information. Maybe
Right.
you copy and paste the information and you don't understand it. But it's good to really have a relationship with that person, or you're building a relationship to walk them through some of the things that, these are the most asked questions. If you had
Hmm.
a section like that, that'll kind of ease some of the dysfunction. But when I tell you, I was like, you may be shy, you may be behind a camera, but if you're going to be a service provider, you're going to have to come out of that. And talking and practicing your introduction just simply helps that. And you want to already be ready when the time occurs. You don't want to be
Right.
getting ready if you've ever heard that before.
Hmm.
So I find that as a point of marketing, you can go out in your scrubs or your anything that markets you or your business. Somebody is going to ask, "What do you do?" And and when they find out, most people average people don't know what estheticians do or never heard of an esthetician. And when you tell them that you deal with skin or you're a skin specialist, and some of them go, oh, well, now they remember they got a skin issue. They remember they got a problem. So it's good to kind of just have conversation. So we're building a rapport. And I was also sharing, allowing your personality to just come out, which makes it easy to talk about the hard stuff. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times in anatomy and physiology, I always wanted to be a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And the last year, I said, man, do I have 11 years? Do I have 10 years to add to what I already got? You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just in
Right.
a midlife crisis. Do I really want to go back to college? Like, for what? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I feel like my expertise and just experience will help a person make decisions and get to the next stage. So when it comes to teens going through puberty, and finding out what's going on with their hair and going on with their body, their skin, I kind of niche in that particular area, and also with women who are aging.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of scared that their skin is changing, their body's changing. And so I kind of study over in that particular area. And I tell people all the time, a lot of the advanced services and that we offer, when you look at someone 2021 and saying, hey, I want to get this, they are sometimes moving prematurely because their skin is still growing. They're still,
Mm-hmm.
you know, baby, you know. So having a good understanding of what's going on with the skin, you're able to really, even in the grocery store, help somebody. Even
Mm-hmm.
in, you know, the mall, you're able to say, you know, help somebody with just something general once they find out what you do. So, and you get to find out who's telling the truth. One young lady, her skin is beautiful. She comes in, but you can tell that it's nothing serious, but she needs to change some eating habits. And for me, I asked her, I said, hey, what's your favorite snack? And she said, chips. I said, I knew it. I knew it. Are your
Mm-hmm.
chips, your favorite chips are red? She said, yeah. Okay. A lot of time that red dye shows
Yeah.
in your face, acne and bumps and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
um, it shows. And I was like, and you drink soda? I was
Yeah.
like,
No.
you don't really, yeah, I was like, you don't really have an issue. You just need to cut the snacks out or choose some better snacks.
Mm-hmm.
How I know, hey, it's going to be a moody time of the month. I'm starting to eat chocolate and sugar. And
Yep.
I have to say, hey, chill out or don't go to Sam's. Because I found
That's the
I get a
truth.
whole, yeah, if they have them as samples, no, don't do that, ma'am, because I'm gonna buy it. You know, I'm gonna get a whole bag of chocolates, and I already know what time it is. So what I'm trying to do is make better decision with that monthly uh,
Yeah.
snacks. I'm not gonna even front with you snacks. I'm just trying to make better decisions with them. But chocolate just seems to be mine, you know. So I
Yeah.
know after that chocolate, I'm gonna need a lot of water. a,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, a lot of water. So this common stuff in what you're training your eye, the anatomy, physiology, consultation, just your eyes tell the story. When you're looking at it, it is literally downloading data for you of what's going on with their skin. So I'm excited again, what you're going to learn. And we'll talk a lot about skin analysis. And you will be surprised just by asking questions and just knowing just a little bit and figuring out what they say versus what the truth really is.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be able to figure out some things and say, hey, we as estheticians, you cannot diagnose, but you can say the suggestions are, you
Right.
know, the suggestions are. So we make sure we stay in our lane when it comes to that. We're not a doctor, but the suggestions are. We work well with the doctors. So it's an esthetician should study and have a thorough understanding of anatomy and physiology. We'll put it in yellow. And you'll see this at the beginning of every chapter. And it is also one of your always going to be one of your exam questions. Okay. Girl, under why do estheticians need to know this? So it says estheticians need to understand how the human body functions. And really we do that by understanding what every system does. Okay. So everybody has a responsibility to make this body move. Let me put in the chat, and it may be really elementary, but I see Mr. Denser. Let me put some caps on. I see Mr. Dempster has been just a really cool way to kind of understand some of the systems. And from the systems, we understand organs and things of that nature. And so we need to understand how the body works. If majority women are going to be your clients, Julie, you're already an expert on how
Yeah.
women bodies work. You since birth, you know how your body works. So, most of the time, everybody's similar in the category. And I like to have conversation when couples come because I'm asking about her skin and then he asks about his skin. Studies have shown that men in grooming, they spend just as much money on skincare and grooming services as women.
You can
So
add Tom for my husband into that category. He spends more time than I do. I feel like I'm like, dude, I can knock out 10 serums and eye creams and moisturizers in like 2 minutes. What's your problem?
right. He's like, no, it probably it needs to settle. It needs to settle.
Exactly. He does it all the right way. He lets everyone dry between, yeah. And I'm like, oh my Lord.
He's probably, I love him already. Okay.
Yeah, you would love him.
But yeah, men are literally, so I tell my young ladies, I tell anyone, don't say I'm only doing women because men are spending just as much money out there on their skin and they look good.
Yep.
I'm
Hey, they're
even,
starting to get a lot more Botox too.
oh,
I know that's not our lane, but
look, that's why you're getting your esthetician license and your spouse is the nurse, the physician.
exactly.
They work together. They work together.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, we partnered with Skin Body Memphis before, and it is very seldom that those nurse director jobs open up. When you find a nurse, medical professional, get to one of those spots, they don't leave.
Oh no.
They don't leave. It's probably more people looking for a spot, waiting on a spot to open up.
You
you
saw
know,
the number of applications I got for even estheticians too. I mean, we did have a lot, but yeah, I used to go to Skin Body. That's who I went. That's where I went until we opened ours. But yeah, so you're right.
yeah, and and it's just a lot. And then I even have a young lady, I'm training her on I have it's an advanced course, but it's about teaching you how to deal with male skin, but she's a barber.
Mm.
She's a barber. So I'm just identifying the opportunity she has to make more money in her chair by offering if she doesn't want to do the full chemical peels, there are enzymes.
Right.
But I am so tired of men just having this pigmentation issue and the skin just rough and y'all just shaving off the skin and you're not treating it. But
Mm-hmm.
that's the story, but that's my cup of tea. But all of all of that is awesome. So as estheticians, we need to incorporate everything. Okay.
Right.
To know how everything works. You're even going to learn how hair works because let's talk about hair removal, but just the function of the hair and the system that hair, skin, and nails are on. It whatever you see wrong with someone's skin, it will be going on in someone's hair. And whenever you see
Mm-hmm.
someone's hair always having an issue, it is an underlying something going on with their skin or something going on with their nails. And if you see all three, it may be something internal that's going on with the body. And you, they say you're not a doctor, but I am trying to watch for the signs. You need to go to the
Right.
doctor, you
Right.
know? You'll have clients come back. I've seen clients that had a lot of thinning. I said, oh, it may be a thyroid issue. I don't know what it is, but whenever there's thinning and breaking, and then we have some swelling in these particular areas, I'm not a doctor, but I really would like you to go get this checked out, you know?
Yeah.
And some clients I ask, we ask about medications. I've had one or two instances where young ladies did not deem birth control as a medication.
Oh, wow.
It is absolutely, yeah, it's absolutely a medication. And if it's a implant, it's still a medication, you know?
Hmm.
And, they didn't understand that. They didn't think it was a medication because you don't take it every day, but it is, there's something that is changing your hormones. And so it is a form of medication. And
Right.
many of them are taking things that they don't notice. They don't care for the side effects. And then when something happens, they don't know to go back to that to look. And so that's kind of like our job to kind of raise awareness as well. And so, yeah, we need to have a thorough understanding. Also, as a service provider, be able to recognize skin changes. Now, when I talk about now, Julie, if I'm talking too much, let me know. I'm a
Oh, no, you're
talker,
good.
especially I'm a talker. So our skin does something different every season. All right. Every season, it's like clockwork. But as we age, it also has a timer as well. So when they're young, we can cut our hair, scrape our skin, and scab goes the same day.
Mhm.
Hair. He's like, you just cut your hair last week, and it's like it's already, yes, or it does it more progressively. But as you begin to age, things starts to slow down. And some of the things that slows down is our fatty tissue that we have to give us contour in our face, the stuff that, and I always said the stuff that when you were little, they used to squeeze your jaws, you didn't like it. But when I got older, yes, please squeeze my jaws. I want this fatty tissue because as you get older, it diminishes. So it shrinks and you start to see aging comes in because you start to take your facial skin will take the shape of the bone structure. This is another reason why fillers have come in and become very popular, whether it's fillers in the lips or fillers in the jaw area, chin, come in as a person ages to give some roundness and contouring to the face. Some people use it exactly for what it's supposed to be used for, and some people kind of overuse it. But that's another option. Again, people want to look good, they want to feel good. They have this picture in their mind of what they look like at a certain age, and they want to recapture that. Okay. We're not magicians, but we'll try. We'll try, but with some great understanding. So we create treatment plans throughout the year. It should not be a time of the year that we would consider slow. There's always something we can do to the skin preparing for the next season. And so I've always told them if it's slow, you're ill prepared or you ain't marketing. Because when we are talking about Valentine's coming up, we should have been planning for Valentine's July,
Right.
last year. And Christmas, they always do 3 to 6 months. Sometimes you can get lost in it. But I tell them all the time, talk, of, there's a part of aesthetics that many people don't talk about in the South. But when I go up north, it's aesthetics and wellness. When I go towards Arizona, California, it's aesthetics and wellness. And when I go to shows, whether it's in the IBS show in Vegas or New York or the premiere that's in San Antonio, that's my new place that I like to go instead of Orlando. There's wellness and they separate aesthetics classes and wellness classes, but it's all under the same umbrella. And I like to tell you or any aesthetic students, you make them look good, but also you're supposed to make them feel good. Like
Hmm.
you bring notice to their nutrition. What's going on in their skin? What are they putting in their body? Because it's going to help your job to make their skin look amazing. And
Mhm.
so the wellness component is like they both go together. So I find some students and some estheticians that start off here in aesthetics and they also enhance their skills by learning more about wellness. What makes a person release stress? What calms them down? So they start learning how to preserve the body, how to preserve the mind, how to preserve the soul. And although I'm not a specialist in wellness, I have, you know, love to talk about nutrition. But as far as advanced holistic things, I don't, it's just my religion purposes. I just don't dabble in some of the other holistic things when it comes to wellness. And
Mhm.
so, such as crystals, things of that nature. But I
Yeah.
do educate my students and they make their own choices. But it's just something I just don't do. But it falls under aesthetics. It's like a cousin. So we're talking about preserving the skin. We also have to talk about preserving the body. Okay. And so that's even estheticians. I tell my one of my friends, I said, look, your aesthetics, you may want to think about going to get a nutritionist certification or more information about being a wellness expert because that's going to go hand in hand, especially if you're vegan, you're liking all organic. It just seems like it all goes together, you know?
Mhm.
So those two were just great. So just being a great service provider, expanding your knowledge base. Sometimes I would go to Walgreens, ask my clients telling me she's on AB medication. I would ask them, can I have a little service sheet, a little, oh, print me off something about this medication so I know the side effects. And sometimes in Walgreens, they'll do it. Of course,
Mhm.
you got Google research. They have AI now. So you can do a
Right.
whole lot of things, but expanding your knowledge to just what's in the book. Okay, just going a little bit further because you never know who is going to come into your spa. So just go a little bit further. It's the third bullet says estheticians must understand the effect the services will have on tissues, organs, and body systems, which means it brings me up to a term called contraindications.
Mhm.
I say that term and I ask every student before you exchange money for a service, before there's a currency exchange, whatever you say you do, I need you to know at least 3 to 5 contraindications that this person cannot get the service. And I repeat that they cannot get the service because that tells me that you're fully aware of and you understand what doing this service does to their skin. You know what the outcome could possibly be. And so when you see things like signs of infection, and just take note signs of infection, um, I'm putting it in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, signs of
So
infection.
sorry. Do you mind if I need to answer this call? I had furniture that was supposed to be delivered, and I think that's them calling. Do you mind hold on one
You're
second?
good. You're good. You're good.
Hello. Huh? Mm, okay. Thank you. Okay, bye-bye. Well, sorry. It was supposed to be delivered today between 2 and 5 o'clock, and they just called to tell me that they're 9 minutes away.
Well, this is recording. You can jump off and I can really keep on going and just the link will be up. So
Okay.
it's I'm all good with it, okay?
Yeah, it shouldn't take long. I have everything cleared out. I got a new couch, so they just have to bring it in.
Awesome.
But I've been wondering where they were all day.
All right, great. So when you see swelling, and you feel heat, you see things like pus, okay?
Mhm.
Um, redness, and just a few things. When you see those signs of infection, it is not a goal to do their service. It's a stop. Let's find out what's going on because I may not be able to do the service, you know?
Mhm.
And so that's what I ask every esthetician is just, um, you know internally what you know and what you're capable of doing. And if you're marketing something and taking money for a service, well, on the consumer side, we're expecting you to be the expert and to know when to do it, when not to do it. So you kind of want to cover yourself from any lawsuits or anything of that nature. So
Mhm.
I asked them no contraindications for everything you do. If I see swelling, if I feel heat, there's a local fever, there's swelling, and if I see pus, no, I am not doing. If she was scheduled for a chemical peel today, I'm gonna find out what's going on.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then so many other things that no, we're not gonna be doing. I'm not doing any extractions. No, I'm not. No, I can't do it. We need to find out what this is, and then we'll start to move from there. But I think so many more people will have less incidents if they would just stand on, okay, I see this. Trust yourself. That's another thing. Some people are not confident. Trust yourself and what you've learned and what you've seen, your years of experience just in life, and say, hey, you know when something doesn't look right. And honestly, clients just want their services. I had a client curse me out up and down before I got my school. I was working at another school, and I'm teaching my students the same thing. And this lady was getting lashes and she was on the table and she was just coughing and coughing up, and she was had this pus coming out of her eyes. Like I don't, and we was like, what? It was like
Yeah.
bodily fluid to me. And my students are like, Miss Cox, and she's coughing and stuff. This lady had the flu and respiratory things going on that is coming out of your eyes. We cannot put extensions on you and touch
Ugh.
that. Yeah. And I mean, got mad. Everybody she could call to complain. We couldn't service her because, and
Uh-uh.
the student, I said, look at your sign, go back to what you've read. Why have we taught you this? And we had to go back and be like realistic, man, we're not able to service you, you know? And that was just them being observant and seeing it, but it should have been observing before she laid down on the table.
Yeah.
But when we got to that point, we still could not do it. And she was just, look, I told her, so the people just want their stuff done. It was unfortunate we could not service them, but she needs to get well. And
Mhm.
Tennessee state law says for us, if we come in with a common cold, which is considered a communicable disease, we come in to work, they could literally restrict our license
Oh, wow.
because we're coming in with something that's contagious. So, and the whole state is built on infection control. So we
Mhm.
have to even be careful. Although we want to come to work, we can't come to work. We can't be in those spaces because our license depends on it. And if
Yeah.
anybody calls, they got to check out every call. And you don't want to go before the board. You don't want to have public record explain to them, and then you have to go to the doctor and show you good to go back to work. So we just have to know all of those things, and we can tell the clients, I see this all the time. If you are sick and you have a cold, do not come to the salon.
Mhm.
Reschedule. So that is something personally that you really have to know, and it's not all about the money. Just look for those signs. Um, we also talk about esthetician learning tissues, organs, and body systems. So knowing what body systems, all of them are going to support each other. But for me, when we talk about majority of our clients are going to be women, I look at what are some of the systems that women really have the most issues with. And for me, it's the endocrine system and reproductive system. So I chose to always pull my consultation questions as it relates. I want to eliminate any hormone issues, any PCOS. In some cases, I've asked questions and they went to the doctor and they identified, the doctor told them they had PCOS. I could
Mhm.
not tell them, but I knew, but I could not tell them. And then we build the plan from there. Have they had any recent surgeries? Just all kind of things. And everybody loves watching Miss Pimple Popper, but I
Ooh.
tell them, I say it's bigger, and it's bigger than that. It is so much bigger than that. Now my phone is ringing. Hold
I'm
on
gonna go
one
on
moment.
mute because if they show up, my dog's gonna bark, but I'm just gonna go on mute, but I'll be here.
Okay. Okay, so great. I know you're there on the other side. So yeah, we have to make sure that we understand our tissues, our organs, our body systems. And for me, I have an emphasis for majority women that I may service or teach. Definitely do some homework about the reproductive system, do some homework about the endocrine system, because we have women going perimenopause, going into menopause. We have them late having babies and early having babies. You have young ladies and guys who go into puberty and things of that nature. I focus a lot on solving the issues of the clients. And so I like to really push that into my students as well, just having some emphasis in those particular areas. So you may have to do a documentary or get you a book that talks about medications and things like that, because even when it comes to advanced skin treatment, certain products you cannot put on the skin if they are seeing a dermatologist for another issue. And so if they're taking medication of another kind, we can't put that on their skin. We can't wax in between those particular products just because of skin lifting, skin burning, skin removal, just so many issues. So yeah, we got to understand everything that's going on. Then we look at this bullet, recommendations for treatment plans. That's where the good stuff comes in, where you can ask the client, well, how well do you care for your services? How well do you care for your hair, your skin, your nails, and particularly do you have a body regimen? I was just last years old when my niece told me about these different steps to showering. And I was traditional, body wash and scrub. And she said, you need to do your dry brush. You need to do your oil. You need to do this. I was like, so you telling me when I shower, that's a 10-step process. I'm already in there 20, 30 minutes. And when I did it, it's the loving on your body. I'm literally in the bathroom about an hour. But that explains to me why the sale for skincare products has gone through the roof, the retail, because people are taking more time and more care for their skin. So they're not just using body wash. They're not just using scrubs. They're using so many other products that have become that has really brought aesthetics to the forefront of skincare and body care. So, having that knowledge and just taking it along with what's going on, the level of skin that we're working on and things of that nature could be amazing. We will create treatment plans and protocols. Protocols is like contraindications. They come right in. Client intake form, that's for marketing. But I also would need to know when the last time you had a facial. Is this your first time? How long has that dark spot been on that area? When was your last pregnancy? Are you pregnant now? Are you on medications? Do you take a list of other medications? And if they take a medication for a particular organ, it's a red flag to ask more questions. Okay. So if they're taking a medication for the brain, mental stability, they're taking medication for the heart, the lungs, whatever medications they're taking it for a major organ, that's a red flag to find out more about that medication, why they're taking it, and making sure it does not contraindicate a service that they will receive. Okay. And so just understanding the complexity of the human body. We are not doctors, but we sure can be a doctor once we get through. Okay. But we are not doctors. There are so many associations. We are hand in hand with this service industry, and we work hand in hand with other service providers as doctors and nurses. So just a great understanding of what we're about to get ourselves to is always awesome. I want to just kind of break down anatomy, physiology, and histology, and then we'll head over to the slide. With anatomy, we'll go in yellow. It's the study of the structures of the body and the substances these structures are made of. The science, the interconnected detail of organisms or their parts. And this is the minute things our body is made. These are the structures. The physiology is the study of the functions, how those structures work. Okay, how those structures work. So when you talk anatomy, we're thinking, let's say for example, organs, you have the heart, where the physiology of that is how that heart works, the functions, the activities, why it don't need our permission to beat. Okay. How is it important to every other part of the body? And then we have histology, also in yellow. It's also known as microscopic anatomy, the tiny pieces you cannot see with your naked eye. But these histology is very important. Okay. This is the composition of tissue. If you want to study unecological to study cancer. And so histology is a major component of that study because you understand, basically, you'll understand how cells work and everything, how they need to have a balance of it, and then how to do that with services, how to match services and products and service those clients that are going through cancer treatments. And so that's another form of aesthetics that, you know, not new, but it's new to a lot of people who are just now coming into the field. No one knew they were to specialize. You can have a specialist in aesthetics and cancer treatments. Right. So the basics of all things, of course, cells, all living things are cells. All right. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to stop share. And then I'm going to pick up our slides. So just hold on for me.
I got a little bit further past this in the book myself. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going over to the slide. We'll go a little further. All right, so that was just a little intro. Now we're just going through our slide bank. We talked about why the importance of you knowing anatomy and physiology, and just going further, just the knowledge of anatomy and physiology, body systems that you need to change a treatment plan based on what they have going on with their body. We have to change the treatment plan. We need to understand the effects of everything that we do, that it is a cause and effect to everything. Okay. And then with the knowledge of anatomy and physiology, the recommendations are based on skin analysis and consultations. Let's do the difference. Consultations, of course, are conversation. Skin analysis is what we see. So a lot of what you'll learn, you have to train your eye. You have to train your eye to see it. I can look on one see the skin, and I'm like, what skin disorder is going on here? What skin condition is going on here? And I tune out from what they're saying because I'm trying to figure out what is going on with that lifted skin I see on the forehead. So I have to like look sideways because you have some people that look at people's hair, some people look at nails, I look at skin. Okay. Recommendations are based on skin analysis, which means you need to know what healthy skin looks like and you need to know what abnormal non-healthy skin looks like when there's issues and there's red flags. And there should be a lot of flags on the plate when you're dealing with someone who's never had a skincare professional. And now we're moving into maybe a treatment and just some new beginnings. And just say they're between 30 and 40 years old. It's some things going on. We initially would need to start with basic signature facials, just get into a cleansing routine, and then we'll find out what the issues are and start to build treatment plans to conquer those issues. But in this particular age, our skin ages like every 10 years. We start to see 10 years that what happens. When we move over into the 30s and 40s, now our skin is starting to lose some form of elasticity. And so you knowing this and seeing this in the skin analysis and consultations, you're able to say our treatment plan is some focus towards this, and we have to use this particular product to make sure that in the coming months and years that we don't have elasticity issues, we don't have moisture issues, so on and so on. Yes, the human body can be complex, but we can do it. Okay. We're going to look at a couple of systems ourselves, just describing, we talked about the cells. If you were to look at a piece of fruit that would resemble the structure of a cell, look at an onion, not a fruit, kiwi, just a vegetable. You look at an onion, how it sheds some membrane. Even look at a peach. It has the outside coating. It has our inside core will be the nucleus. And so it's so many things. Even look at an egg, it would have just most of what you would think of basic cell structure. Mitosis, of course, is going to be the multiplication. And as we get to a certain age, mitosis decreases, the cell production decreases. So when you start to see products that say cell renewal is basically saying we heal fast and we reproduce fast. And so cell renewal is great. It's amazing. And it happens really fast when you're young, but it starts to slow down as you begin to age. And we'll be able to reference the Glogos scale. That Glogos scale, you'll see it in a couple more chapters, but it definitely, if someone told you they were 45, you can go to the Glogos scale and say, hey, age 45, and it'll tell you what should be going on in this time period. And there's always a studying that has to be done. So when you see your clients, they tell you one thing, and then you look at your scale, you say, this should be going on. And it really just confirms what you think. And so cell production is always going to be big, and finding products, investing in products that help reproduce, that help repair is going to be amazing. And you'll sometimes those products will lead with anti-aging, healing, renewal with those terms, and you'll begin to see those in practices. And you'll see that a lot from spring to summer, and from fall to winter, you start to see it because the winter became to be the best time, the suggested time, the best time, the only time to do a lot of the skin peels. And so you'll start to see that type of terminology around that time. We look at cell metabolism, definitely converts nutrients to energy, eliminates waste and aging. So we have to make sure that what happens here is that excretory system is in function. And so the digestive and the excretory system will work hand in hand. So we definitely want to make sure that we are telling our clients about wellness as far as the drinking of the water, okay? Making sure that they're hydrated, things of that nature, things to help eliminate waste, all right? That's that excretory system and some wellness information. When we talk about the four types of tissues, we have connective tissue, epithelial tissue, muscle tissue, and nerve tissue. Each one of these are at any point in the body you'll be able to find. The connective tissue, we look at connecting things together. You're looking at ligaments. You're also looking at the skeletal system. We need connective tissue. A lot of times that connective tissue is worn out too soon. This is what causes people to say, hey, I have bone on bone rubbing together. They don't have connective tissue. But a lot of times they can try shots and other treatments, but we look at connective tissue. Guys, we need connective tissue because we service the hands, we service the feet. Our scope of practice is hands, feet, the face, and the skull, neck, and décolleté. There's bones in majority of those areas, so we deal with connective tissue. As estheticians, we are not allowed to massage. The only way that we can implement massage is going to be hot stones, treatment, things of that nature. But physically on our hands, when we do back treatments and things that like that nature, we cannot do massage movements. The epithelial tissue, flat tissue, which is sometimes found in blood, okay, it's always there. Coatings of all of our major organs, muscle tissue, major muscle tissues such as the heart, but we have so many muscle tissues. How does that affect? How does estheticians and muscle tissue? Well, why are we talking about that? Because you got fatty tissue in your face. You have muscles in your face. Okay. You have bone, really small bones in your face that connective ligaments, connective tissue helps bring all of that together. So you have to know what's underneath that you're touching. And then there's nerve tissue. I say one of the most important one of them all. Nerve tissue that forms at the base of the brain goes from the top of the head to the bottom of the feet, back around, up again, and go everywhere else. That's the nerve tissue. It sends signal. It has memory. Okay, so it can tell, and it doesn't need your permission a lot of times to do what it needs to do. Muscle tissue, the same way, and muscle and nerve tissue work well together. Our job is to make sure that when we do massage the face, that we are massaging those muscles upward, that tissue upward, and we're not pulling anything away from the bone. And so there's memory when we massage with the flow. The muscles and nerves start to hold memory and they stay put longer, which means if that tissue is uplifted on those cheekbones, it holds memory. Guess what? You're gonna look younger longer. But starting to go away from it removes the memory and it just begins to go to gravity. It diminishes or it just hangs down. And this is where the skin becomes loose and wrinkles start to set in. Tissue. It's amazing. Okay. Um, let's look at, we got about 15 more minutes. Well, let's look at the functions of some of the major organs and systems of the body. Again, like I said, I see Mr. Denser. Integumentary system. This is one of the most important ones. It's the hair, skin, and nails. They're all on the same system. Whatever's going on with one, you can definitely see it on another. Integumentary system. And the skeletal system, it gives us our frame, okay? That's our bone on bone action. That's our ligaments. That's our connective tissue. That's our bones. That's the skeletal system. Okay. It helps shape us to who we are. Without the skeletal system, just be a big glob of stuff. And then we have the muscular system. Okay. One of the most unique muscles in the body is going to be the heart. Okay. But we have the muscular system. This muscle tissue holds everything, sticks to the bones and holds things together. Okay. It gives us curvature, contouring to our face and also to our bodies. And then we have the nervous tissue, which has one of the most unique organs in the world, and this is the brain. And those attachments of the brain, nerve tissue, and things of that nature. Both of these work hand in hand. Okay. Muscles have nerve reaction and nerves run linear with the muscles. All right. So it's mainly you don't really do one without the other. They carry messages. Okay. But I absolutely love most of the time when you can have a person that talks about they have a hair loss issue. And I talked this morning about alopecia areata, and that's pretty much a hair loss, baldness, not necessarily baldness, but hair loss, abnormal hair loss due to stress. And so a lot of times when you can correct the stress, the level of pressure that is on your nerves, you'll start to see that your hair will go back. Okay. And so you can fool everybody else on the outside, but you don't necessarily can't fool the inside. And so it will show us. So when you have a client that has those, learn what alopecia areata, of some of the signs of hair loss, you're going to be able to see this and know, hey, there's something else going on, and it definitely is going to affect the skin. We look at organs and body systems continue, circulatory system. So now we're talking about the blood. We're talking about the pathway of all of the nutrients getting to all of the follicles so the hair can grow. All of the nutrients getting to the levels of skin so the cells can be rumped up, reproduce, and those new skin levels can just show. The old skin can sag, can be sloted away, old dead skin cells, and then new skin cells arise. The circulatory system goes to every organ also, taking nutrients. And if it carries, it's the carrier, it sometimes carries the bad as well. Okay. So we got to make sure we find out if the person is dealing with any circulatory issues. And then you have the immune lymphatic system, which helps get rid of a lot of waste, okay, and build the immune system. So you want to get rid of the waste, and we help make the body healthier, okay, in the inside. We get rid of waste. We have detoxers when you do wellness. Of course, we have body wraps and things of that nature we can do. All of that helps with that particular system. You have the endocrine system, reproductive system, and respiratory system. As I told you before, two of the most important ones, if you have major focus on women. Also, I would say women in the nervous system as well. The endocrine system, the reproductive system. Endocrine system is going to be our hormone balance. So we have clients talking about they're moving into menopause, or perimenopause, or they have polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS. That endocrine system is going to be a big um, review for you, because based on what's going on with them in the inside, it's going to show on the outside. You may say, Ms. Cox, how does it look? The skin could become textured, which means leathery, patchy, dry, rough in particular areas. Also, it could be red, very dark in particular areas, such as on the high cheek areas, neck areas, things of that nature. Reproductive, you'll start to see it works hand in hand with the hair, skin, and nails, but reproductive also works hand in hand with the endocrine system as a hormones. I tell people when a woman gets to there maybe 7 months, you want to stop doing the chemical processes. I won't do any chemical processes. The Brazilian has always been a popular service, but social media has made it that you got to use every piece of machinery when you're doing these services, and you absolutely should not. I tell my students, do you have a full understanding of electricity while you're using a high frequency one in an intimate area? Here's the thing with having women. Women have ulcers. They have probably had ulcers. They've had tumors. They may have fibroids that they don't talk about or that they have. I don't want to use a high frequency one that's going to have levels of electricity to spark something up. If the steamer can be on in that area for longer than 5 minutes, why am I using high frequency and galvanic treatments, those currents in those particular areas, and I don't know what my cause and effect is? Okay, so we have to watch out. Sometimes on social media, the services look great and look amazing. Oh, they know what they do, and I want to do that, but it's totally the wrong thing to do. So unless you have proper education on using those machines and in those intimate areas, I would not, because even in the underarm area, which is has connective breast tissue, we don't know if the current stimulated something to grow. And so we just have to be really, really cautious and not doing what other people are doing just because. The respiratory works right along with the muscular system. The heart and the lungs flow together. From blood and fluid, it flows together. So we want to make sure when we hear about clients saying they have respiratory issues, even in the treatment room with them having respiratory issues such as asthma, that steamer, you have to make sure the steamer is far away in arm's reach as it's supposed to be, but you got to make sure it's not right up in their face. You want them to be able to breathe. Also, you have to make sure you don't have the steamer on a long period of time. And so you don't have them laying on their back too long. And so all of that just comes in medications. It just helps with the treatment room and what we're doing, what services, what machines we're allowed to use, and what machines we're not allowed to use. When it comes to the heart, I'm also going to ask, do they have any metal implements in their body, metal plates and things of that nature? There's a lot of electrical machinery, galvanics, treatments, different currents and things like that that can stimulate, um, you know, different things that we have to help our heart pump. We have, you don't want to categorize it as and your heart think it's an extra beat, so we don't want to have a sudden heart attack on the table. So we got to be careful, ask these questions before we put in these currents throughout people's body. And I know you're on the other side and we're getting started, but I'm just talking from experience of having students that want to do and all kinds of stuff. We got about 4 minutes and then we're going to leave the reading up to you and we're going to finish up on Monday. But as we begin to look at the accessory organs to the skin, these are the things that we're now in touch with. Now we're talking aesthetics. Now we're talking where we're able to see the things in fact, we're able to say that, okay, product works here, it doesn't work here. This is where we could pull up this type of image and explain to clients what's really going on with their skin. And so as we look at accessory organs, you're looking at everything that's connected to the dermis, epidermis, and the fatty tissue layer, the subcutaneous tissue, where the hair follicle is. And let me tell you, when we talk about dark spots as well, that pigment bundles together, and that pigment is right down here where this follicle is, because the pigment, when the hair root is created, it will immediately start to feed in and pull the pigment. Okay, once it pulls the pigment, it will begin to continue to grow. All right. And so a lot of times when people are talking about they have products that will, um, it's for dark spots and they rub the cream on this top layer here, the epidermis. If you don't have machinery or something heated that can push that product down where it literally gets to the area where the dark spots are, that product doesn't work. They're
Mm.
just selling that. And we'll talk more about that too. So when clients are telling me, oh, I'm using vitamin C, it's temporary and it's topical. And it only works once you've cleared the issues. And so you need to clear the issue. And clients sometimes do not want to pay for LED or things of that nature. Or
Mhm.
but I tell them, I said, man, you want to get rid of this. What we have to do is get rid of the issue. Like pigment will bundle together. It doesn't matter what race you are, we have the same amount of pigment. It's just
Right.
some pigment is not produced doesn't produce, and some pigment just kind of just lays dormant. But we all have the same amount of pigment cells. Some cells go, some cells don't. And sometimes those cells will bundle together and we have dark spots, but they're not surface level that we could just treat it with just surface product. And so you have to have a opportunity where we soften that skin and we're able to drive that product into the area, or that key premium ingredient into the area that can tackle and break up that pigment. That's why a lot of product is very expensive, because of those ingredients that know as soon as it gets to the skin, it knows exactly what it needs to do. It has to go down. And this is why I tell people, don't cheat yourself, because you are superheroes to a lot of people just because you understand how the product is going to work. And I see people all the time just buying so much stuff, but I'm saying you don't have a vehicle for it. It's just something you putting on the front of your face. You don't have a vehicle for it. So it's not, you're going to see the problem again, because we're not really breaking up anything.
Mhm.
But yeah, we'll pick up on that. But that epidermis, dermis, and subcutaneous tissue, I try to have that image in my phone and tell people all the time, hey, you really want to see some work? You really want to have some issues? You really want to see some change in your skin? You're gonna have to go some and you're gonna have to go to some advanced services,
Mhm.
and sometimes advanced services may cost a little bit more, and they definitely
Right.
do for us to get what we gotta get done. And so that's the key. Well, Julie, you've gotten your beautiful couch,
I
and
did. I know it made it 2.5 hours later, but we made it.
we made
Um,
it. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna come back and just kind of record the rest of it and send it to you in a link.
okay.
Um,
I do have a couple
because I
questions for you real quick. As I was going through like the syllabus with the ebook. So, because it had in here like I guess to do key terms and this and scope of practice. Is that somewhere like when I'm supposed to be like reading on my own? Obviously I have the ebooks and I went through all of that and those chapters and I saw like the quizzes. So I
Mhm.
took I think three of those quizzes. I don't know if I was supposed to or not, but I did. But I
Yeah.
saw on the syllabus where it had like 25 question study guide. Where is that located?
Did you get 75 question study guide?
I don't think I got that.
Send it to you. Okay, I need to send it to you. It's 25. It's one big study guide that has like all of the questions together.
Oh, got it.
Um,
Okay.
I send it over to you. But the
Okay.
terms are the flashcards. When you get to your when you see
Okay.
the flashcards,
Okay.
yeah, those are the terms. When you see the flash that area where it says flashcards, word
Mhm.
review, those are the terms.
And the scope of practice,
I need to go
or
back and
was
look
that
at.
just a title? I can't remember. I wrote that down because
Yeah, I
I
think it was
was,
just the title, but I don't have it in front of me. I have a couple of other screens up. I
okay.
will go and look at my folder and see what I have for aesthetics and just take another look at it,
Okay.
because I've jumped from two subjects today. So
Okay.
I
I
don't
got
want
it.
to
I
take
just
you
want to
up.
make sure I wasn't missing like anything I was supposed to be doing on my end. Um,
Up
so
on it
okay.
and just do a recap as well. Also, Zoom does a recap too, an AI recap
Mhm.
that talks about what we put, and I'm just gonna put it in the
Okay.
group on Facebook. But let me go back and look at your syllabus for your class and just get some clarity, and I will forward you whatever I need to forward over to you and answer any questions you have related to that.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
Hey, no problem. Enjoy, be safe, and I will probably be sending you something by Friday. Okay.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Have a great one.
Okay. You too. Bye bye.